Okay, everyone, get ready because today we're diving deep into AI agents.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
It is, and you've probably already run into them out there, like those
Oh
chatbots,
yeah, for
those
sure.
virtual assistant things, and even think about like characters in video games that you just can't beat.
Yeah, I feel that.
But today we're going way beyond just using AI. We're going to explore AI that uses tools
Wow.
to understand and interact with the world around us. It's basically a whole new ballgame,
Okay.
and you're going to want to know the rules.
I'm ready.
So let's get started. What exactly is an AI agent?
Well, think of it like this. An AI agent uses an AI model,
Okay.
and usually it's one of those LLMs, the large language
Right,
models.
everyone's talked about those.
Yeah, exactly. To interact with an environment and achieve objectives. So it basically has a brain,
Uh-huh.
which is the LLM for reasoning and planning, and a body,
Okay.
which includes all the capabilities and tools it can use.
That makes sense. But LLMs themselves are pretty complex.
Yeah.
Can we break down how those work a bit more?
Absolutely. Imagine like you're trying to guess the next word in a sentence.
Okay.
You'd probably consider the words that came before it.
Yeah, to make sense of it.
Right. And what makes sense in the context, LLMs do something similar, but on a much larger scale.
Okay.
They predict the next token, which could be a word or even just part of a word,
Okay.
based on the sequence of tokens that came before it.
So it's kind of like a giant game of predict the next word.
Yeah.
But the LLM is playing with this massive vocabulary and just a ton of data.
Exactly. And the model doesn't actually understand language the way we do. It
Yeah.
works by analyzing just huge amounts of text and learning the probabilities of different tokens appearing together.
Wow. It's still mind-blowing to me
Yeah.
how these LLMs can generate coherent text and even whole conversations just from predicting tokens.
Right.
But is there more to it than just stringing words together?
There is. It's about understanding the relationships between words and concepts.
Okay.
Grasping the nuances of context and even identifying subtle patterns in language. That's where things like attention mechanisms come in.
Okay, so imagine the LLM is highlighting the most important words in a sentence,
Exactly.
focusing its attention on those parts
Yes.
that carry the most meaning.
It allows them to process information more effectively
Okay.
and generate more meaningful outputs.
So it's like it's learning to read between the lines,
Yes.
not just reading the words themselves.
That's a great way to put it. And this is where things get even more interesting. LLMs come in different flavors.
Really?
Yeah, like encoders, decoders, and even seek-to-seek models,
Wow.
each with their own strengths and weaknesses. But the most common type used in AI agents are decoder models,
Okay.
which are specifically designed for tasks like text generation and conversation.
So we have these powerful LLMs that can process language and understand context.
Right.
But how do we actually communicate with them? Like give them instructions and tell them what we want our agent to do?
We do it through messages. Think of it like a conversation.
Uh-huh.
You send a message to the LLM, it processes it, and then responds with another message.
But I thought LLMs worked with a single prompt.
Yeah, you're right. Behind the scenes, what we see as this back and forth conversation
Yeah.
is actually translated into a single prompt that the LLM receives.
Oh, okay.
It's like taking all those individual messages and stitching them together in a specific format.
So the LLM doesn't actually remember the conversation. It's getting a fresh prompt every time.
That's right.
But that prompt contains the entire history of the conversation.
Exactly. It's like giving the LLM a recap of everything that's been said
Okay.
before it can respond.
So how do we make sure that this prompt is structured correctly?
Right.
And that the LLM understands what we're asking?
That's where chat templates come in.
Okay.
They act as a bridge between the conversational way we interact with the LLM
Huh.
and the specific format it needs to receive its input.
So it's ensuring that the LLM gets the right signals.
Exactly. Understands the context of the conversation
Okay.
and can generate appropriate responses.
It's like having a translator between two languages.
Yeah.
Except we're translating between human conversation and LLM language.
Exactly. And just like languages have different dialects, different LLMs might use different formatting and special tokens
Oh, wow.
to understand the structure of the conversation. But thankfully, these chat templates handle the translation,
Okay.
making sure the LLM gets the message loud and clear,
Good.
regardless of its specific quirks.
All right, so we've got these amazing LLMs that can understand us and communicate back.
Right.
But how do we give them the power to actually do things in the real world? I mean, a chatbot can't actually cook me dinner, right?
You're right, a chatbot can't cook.
No.
But that's where the concept of tools comes in.
Okay.
This is where we move beyond just generating text and give our AI agents the ability to interact with the world around them.
I like it.
Think of it as giving the LLM a set of hands
Okay.
that it can use to manipulate its environment.
So we're talking about things like searching the web generating images or even controlling physical devices.
Exactly. Tools are essentially functions
Okay.
that provide extra capabilities to our AI agents.
So they act as extensions of the LLM's body.
Yes, allowing it to perform actions beyond just processing text.
But how do we teach an LLM how to use these tools? It's not like we can hand it a paintbrush and tell it to create a masterpiece.
Right. We teach them through language, just like we've been doing all along.
Okay.
We provide the LLM with clear, structured descriptions of what each tool does,
Uh-huh.
what inputs it requires, and what outputs it produces.
So it's like giving the LLM a user manual for its toolbox.
That's a good way to put it.
I like that. So instead of handing the LLM a physical screwdriver,
Yeah,
we're giving it the textual equivalent of a screwdriver
right.
and instructions on how to use it.
Precisely. And to make sure the LLM understands this manual,
Okay.
we use a structured format, often leveraging programming languages or JSON.
Oh, wow.
This ensures clarity and minimizes the chance of the LLM misinterpreting our instructions.
So we're essentially teaching the LLM to code.
In a way, yes. We're tapping into the LLM's ability to understand structured information
Mm-hmm.
and using that to teach it about new tools and how to use them.
So we've covered the brain, the LLMs, and the body, the tools.
Right.
Now, how do these two parts work together to actually make our agent do something?
That's where the agent workflow comes in. It's a cyclical process called the thought-action-observation cycle.
Okay.
Think of it like a loop where the agent thinks about what to do, takes action, sees the results,
Okay.
and then uses that information to think again and refine its approach.
So it's a dynamic process
Yeah.
that allows the agent to adapt and learn from its experiences.
Exactly. Imagine an AI agent tasked with finding you the perfect recipe for chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, I'm listening.
First, it needs to understand what you're looking for.
Okay.
That's the thought phase.
Uh-huh.
It then decides to use its web search tool to find recipes. That's the action phase. After searching, it receives a list of potential recipes.
Got it.
That's the observation phase.
And then it uses that observation to refine its search.
You got it.
Maybe adding more specific keywords or filtering the results based on what I like.
Exactly. It's a continuous loop that allows the AI agent to interact with its environment,
Okay.
gather information, and refine its actions to achieve its objective.
In this case, finding the perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe.
Right.
Okay, my brain is starting to feel like it's running a marathon here.
It's a lot to take in, I know, but we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh, no.
In the next part, we're going to delve into an even more powerful concept, function calling,
Okay.
which takes this idea of tools to a whole new level.
All right, I'm definitely ready for a break, but I'm also excited to see what's next. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I'm still trying to wrap my head around all this talk of LLMs and tools
Oh, yeah.
and these thought-action-observation cycles.
It is a lot, but once you grasp the fundamentals, it's really amazing how transformative this technology can be. And it gets even more exciting when we introduce function calling.
Okay, hit me with it. What is this function calling all about? Sounds like I'm like calling up a friend to help me out.
That's a good analogy.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about providing those detailed tool descriptions to the LLM?
Uh-huh.
Well, function calling takes that a step further. It's like we're actually baking that knowledge about the tools directly into the LLM.
So instead of just understanding those tool descriptions,
Yeah.
the LLM learned how to use the tools during training.
Exactly. It's like giving the LLM hands-on experience with the toolbox, so it's no longer just reading the manual.
Right.
It's getting real practice.
Wow, that sounds like a game changer. So does this mean we can just diss those structuring tool descriptions altogether?
Not quite. Function calling definitely reduces the reliance on meticulously crafting prompts for each tool call,
Okay.
but those clear descriptions are still valuable, especially for complex tasks. Think of it like having a skilled craftsperson. They might know how to use most tools, but they still appreciate clear instructions for a particularly intricate project.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how does this function calling magic actually happen? Do we just tell the LLM, hey, go learn how to use these tools?
It's a bit more involved than that, but the core idea is to expose the LLM to tons of examples of how tools are used during its training.
Okay.
Imagine we're teaching the LLM how to use a calculator tool. We wouldn't just give it the description of the tool.
Mhm.
We'd show it examples of calculations, show it the inputs, the function call, and then the resulting output.
So it's like giving the LLM a set of flashcards
Yeah.
with different calculations and showing it how to use the calculator to solve them.
That's a good way to visualize it by seeing all these examples.
Yeah.
The LLM starts to pick up on patterns. It learns which function calls to use for specific types of tasks,
Okay.
and it gets better at predicting the outputs based on the inputs and the tool being used.
This is really powerful. But I'm guessing training an LLM with all these examples isn't exactly a walk in the park.
You're right. Training these massive models can be computationally expensive and time-consuming, but thankfully there are techniques like LoRa.
LoRa.
Yeah, LoRa, it stands for low rank adaptation.
Okay.
That can make the process much more efficient.
So what is LoRa? Is that some secret AI training method?
Not a secret, but definitely clever. It's a way to fine-tune large language models without having to retrain the entire model from scratch.
Okay.
Imagine you're an athlete trying to improve your performance.
Okay.
You wouldn't retrain your entire body from the ground up. You'd focus on specific exercises and techniques to target the areas you want to improve.
So LoRa is like giving the LLM targeted training sessions on function calling,
Exactly.
but without having to make it relearn everything else.
Precisely. It's a more focused approach that saves time,
Good.
computational power, and still yields really impressive results.
Okay, so we've got our LLM learning how to use tools through function calling and LoRa.
Right.
But how does this all fit into that thought-action-observation cycle we discussed earlier?
Great question. Remember how we talked about different message roles like user and assistant?
Yes.
Well, function calling introduces two new roles to the mix: action and observation.
So now the LLM can explicitly signal when it wants to use a tool
Yes.
and when it's received feedback from that tool.
It's like adding more structure and clarity to the agent's internal dialogue. Let's go back to our chocolate chip cookie example.
Okay.
Imagine the AI agent has been fine-tuned with function calling.
Uh-huh.
When you ask it to find a recipe, its thought process might now look something like this. Okay, the user wants a chocolate chip cookie recipe. I know I can use the web search tool to find recipes. Time to take action.
So it generates an action message
Yeah,
that tells the agent to use the web search tool with specific keywords.
precisely. It might even include things like dietary restrictions or preferences you've mentioned before. And then once the agent retrieves the search results,
Okay.
it packages that information into an observation message.
So it's like the agent saying, hey, LLM, here's what I found when I used the web search tool with those keywords.
Exactly. This observation message provides structured feedback to the LLM,
Okay.
allowing it to process the information more effectively.
And then armed with that observation,
Right.
the LLM can move on to the next step, maybe refining the search or collecting the most promising recipes to show me.
Exactly. Function calling doesn't change the fundamental structure of the thought-action-observation cycle, but it makes it more efficient and powerful by creating a direct line of communication between the LLM and the tools.
Okay, this is all starting to click for me. Function calling is like giving our AI agents a more streamlined way to interact with their environment,
Yeah.
allowing them to learn and adapt more effectively.
That's a great way to put it. It's like we're removing some of the intermediary steps
Okay.
and allowing the LLM to become more proficient at using its toolbox.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This is all incredibly exciting, but I have to admit, I'm also a little overwhelmed. Where do we even begin to apply this kind of technology in the real world?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll explore in more detail in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
But I can tell you this, the possibilities are truly vast. We can create AI agents that can automate complex tasks,
Uh-huh.
provide personalized assistance, and even generate creative content. Imagine an agent that can help you plan a trip, write a blog post, or even code a simple website,
Wow.
all while learning and adapting to your preferences and needs.
Those are some seriously impressive examples. It sounds like function calling is opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
Exactly, and the best part is that this field is still rapidly evolving.
Really?
Oh, yeah. As researchers develop new techniques and data sets for fine-tuning LLMs with function calling,
Okay.
we can expect even more amazing applications to emerge in the near future.
Okay, I think I need a moment to process all of this. We've covered so much ground. Can we do a quick recap of what functions calling is all about
Sure.
and why it's such a big deal?
Absolutely. Function calling is all about making AI agents more powerful and versatile by teaching them how to use tools directly.
Okay.
We do this by showing them lots of examples during the training process, and techniques like LoRa help us do this efficiently without having to retrain the entire model from scratch.
So the result is AI agents that are more capable, adaptable,
Yes.
and closer to our vision of truly intelligent systems.
Precisely, function calling is a significant step forward in the evolution of AI.
Wow.
And it's paving the way for a future where AI can seamlessly integrate into our lives and help us achieve incredible things.
I'm definitely starting to get excited about the possibilities. But there's one thing I'm still a bit confused about. We've talked about how function calling reduces the reliance on prompt engineering,
Right.
but we still need to provide those tool descriptions, right? How does that all work in practice?
That's a great question, and it brings us to a crucial aspect of function calling the interplay between the model's learned abilities and the specific context of a task.
Okay.
Even though an LLM might be trained on how to use certain tools,
Uh-huh.
we still need to provide it with information about the specific tools available in a given situation and any constraints or guidelines for their usage.
So it's like giving the LLM a toolbox,
Yeah,
but also telling it which tools are relevant for a particular project and how they should be used.
precisely. Think of it like this. You might have a skilled carpenter who knows how to use a hammer,
Okay.
but you still need to tell them what type of nails to use,
Right.
where to hammer them, and what kind of finish you're looking for.
So we're basically providing the LLM with context-specific instructions
Yeah.
that tailor its learned abilities to the task at hand.
Exactly.
So we're still the architects, but the LLM is becoming a more skilled builder.
That's a great analogy. And as AI agents become more sophisticated, the way we interact with them will increasingly resemble human collaboration. It's about understanding their strengths, providing clear communication, and working together to achieve common goals.
This is all incredibly fascinating, and I'm eager to learn more about the practical aspects of working with function calling AI agents and how this collaboration might play out in the real world.
Well, you're in luck because in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to explore just that. We'll look at real-world examples of AI agents in action,
Perfect.
discuss their potential impact, and even touch on some of the broader implications of this rapidly evolving technology.
Sounds like we've got a lot more to unpack. Can't wait to dive into the next part. All right, welcome back to the final part of our AI agent adventure. It feels like we've covered so much.
We have. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, from those inner workings of LLMs
Right.
to the power of tools and function calling.
Yeah, definitely. But the real excitement starts when we see how these AI agents are being applied in the real world.
Okay, so let's get down to it. What are some real-world examples of how AI agents are making a difference?
Well, they're popping up everywhere, from customer service to healthcare to finance.
Wow.
Their ability to automate tasks, personalize experiences, and analyze complex data is really changing the game.
So we're talking about more than just chatbots on websites.
Oh, absolutely. Chatbots were just the beginning. Now we're seeing AI agents being used to schedule appointments,
Okay.
generate reports, create marketing content, and even assist with scientific research.
Wow.
It's becoming hard to find an area where they aren't making impact.
I'm really interested in how they're being used in healthcare. Can you give us some examples there?
Well, think about analyzing medical record.
Okay.
An AI agent can sift through mountains data,
Yeah.
looking for patterns that might be missed by human eyes.
And this could lead to earlier diagnoses.
Potentially even personalized treatment plans.
So it's not about replacing doctors,
Right.
but giving them a powerful new tool.
Exactly. It's about augmenting human capabilities,
Okay.
not replacing them. And it's not just limited to diagnosis. Imagine AI agents helping researchers develop new drugs
Wow.
or therapies by analyzing clinical trial data and identifying potential candidates much faster than traditional methods.
That's really incredible. What about other fields? How are AI agents changing things in finance, for example?
Think about fraud detection.
Okay.
AI agents can monitor transactions in real time, looking for anomalies that might indicate fraudulent activity. They can also assess risk for loans or investments,
Uh-huh.
taking into account a vast array of data points to make more informed decisions.
So it sounds like AI agents are becoming essential
Yeah,
for managing complexity and making sense of the huge amount of data we generate every day.
that's a great way to put it. And this is just the beginning. As AI technology continues to advance, we can expect even more creative and impactful applications to emerge.
So we're limited only by our imagination at this point.
Basically.
Okay, it all sounds really promising, but are there any challenges or concerns that come with this rapid advancement in AI agent technology?
Of course, with any powerful technology, there are always considerations. One key challenge is ensuring that these agents are developed and deployed responsibly.
Okay.
We need to be mindful of potential biases that might be present in the data used to train these models.
So it's not just about building smart agents.
Right.
It's about building fair and unbiased agents.
Exactly. And that requires careful consideration of the data we use, the algorithms we design, and how these agents are integrated into real-world systems.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. It's an ongoing conversation and collaboration between developers, ethicists, policymakers, and society as a whole.
It sounds like building trust in these AI agents is crucial
Definitely.
if they're going to truly benefit humanity.
Absolutely. Transparency is key. People need to understand how these agents work, what data they use, and how decisions are being made.
Uh-huh.
And we need to have mechanisms in place to address potential issues or unintended consequences.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about the human element, the ethics, and the societal impact.
Exactly. As AI agents become more sophisticated and integrated into our lives, the conversation around responsible development and deployment will become even more important.
That's a great point. It's a reminder that we're not just watching this technological revolution.
Right.
We have a responsibility to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Well said. And I believe that's one of the most exciting aspects of this field. It's not just about building cool technology, it's about shaping the future we want to live in.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've gone from knowing next to nothing about AI agents to understanding the fundamentals
That's great to hear.
and the potential and even the challenges.
It's been my pleasure to share this journey with you, and I encourage you to continue exploring and learning. This field is constantly evolving,
Right.
and there's always something new to discover.
I'm definitely hooked. And for all of you listening out there, I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of AI agents. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep imagining the possibilities. Until next time.